rising costs and supply chain shortages, this may be your last chance to get monkey magnets at this low price. There is a strict limit of 1 full house pack per order while supplies last. So order now to keep all your doors and drawers shut tight with monkey magnets.
Call 1-800-519-4810. That's 1-800-519-4810. Call or visit getmonkeymagnets.com. So call 1-800-519-4810. Order now.
Hey, everybody, welcome to another super informative edition of Breaking Point on Real America's Voice News. You can't blink for a second or you're going to miss out on the news cycle. Trump taking the Middle East and Asia Minor by storm. Have you ever seen such a regal procession and a welcome? They did not do that for Joe Biden and the Biden administration. They didn't even want to meet with Biden's people when they went over there. Trump securing up to $4 trillion for U.S. companies. He's gotten commitments somewhere between 10 and $15 trillion to come back to the United States just in 4 months. And on Wednesday, Qatar Airways agreed to pay $96 billion for 210 American-made 777s and 787s. It's the largest order for jets in the history of Boeing. And the White House said that 154,000 U.S. jobs would be supported annually by this deal, and it could total more than 1 million jobs across the United States. Boeing lost than $35 billion. They lost more than $35 billion in the last 4 years after 2 737 MAX jets crashed, killing 346 people, and the new planes were grounded for 2 years. And then they had all the trouble with the construction of the 787s and were accused of taking shortcuts and failed testing techniques. But more deals with the United Arab Emirates, as well as NVIDIA, chips, helicopter sales, F-16 fighter jets are in the works. So Eric and Don Jr., right? Eric Trump and Don Jr., class acts, spoke in the United Arab Emirates last week about the Trump Organization's plan to build an 80-story, 80-floor hotel and residential tower in Dubai. And he bragged the tower would have the largest infinity waterfall pool, which will redefine luxury, they say. And Eric and Donald Trump Jr. of the Trump Organization are finalizing a deal for cryptocurrency, golf clubs, luxury residential buildings, and pushing for other private deals in the Gulf states. But the Business Insider, which is so left, is saying Don Jr. is the new Hunter Biden, except for a few things like smoking crack, the hookers, the kickbacks to the big guy, the crooked Burisma deal, where they laundered tens of millions of dollars, and the UK froze $23 million of Burisma's assets because they were laundering money. And foreign leaders aren't getting shaken down or blackmailed for tens of millions of dollars. And the difference between the Trump kids and Hunter Biden is that these are private deals that don't compromise the Trump administration or jeopardize the national security of the United States or our ability to conduct foreign policy. And Trump isn't getting kickbacks like Biden was. The Trump Organization is doing what it has always done, and that's buying land, buying properties, building and developing them. They've been doing that for, 70 years? Comparing Don Jr. to Hunter Biden is like comparing Tony Bennett to P. Diddy. I've interacted with Don Jr. and Eric a lot over the years, and Lara Trump as well. I haven't interacted with Ivanka, but she's another class act. And I love those guys and Lara because they engage people. They never leave a room without saying goodbye to everybody. And they're sharp, and they're honest, and they're not doing cocaine in hotel rooms with hookers. It's really crazy But Apple has already committed to $500 billion in reinvestment in America. They also increased their production of Apple products in India 60% just last year at $22 billion worth of products. Trump is urging Apple's Tim Cook to reconsider and manufacturing even more in the United States because I think they're making servers here. They're not making their phones here. Apple plans to make most of its iPhones in India by the end of 2026, moving away from China. But I have a friend who is a very successful plumber in New York City, and he got a contract to redo like 25,000 tubs in New York City housing apartments, right? It was a big contract, and he wanted to cut out the middleman. So he went directly to India to see if he could get a better deal and get the bathtubs really cheap. So he flies to India. He goes right to Delhi, I think, and he goes to the factory. And when he walks into the factory where they're making the tubs, he sees like 7, 10, 12-year-old, 15-year-old kids making the tubs, breathing in toxic fumes. Well, he jetted out of the factory. He went right back to the airport, and he got on a plane and never looked back. And that's what's going on in India and China. Uyghurs as slaves, guard towers with machine guns sometimes, because the suicide rate is so high inside some Chinese factories. But India is not far behind that. Now, they are somewhat of an ally. But just remember, they were customers of the Soviet Union, and their fighter jets and their submarines and their military and their nuclear stuff, I think, came from the Soviet Union, the former Soviet Union. But Trump gets along with Modi. It's important to open up trade. But we have to make stuff here, right? We have better conditions. We need to make stuff here. We need to strengthen our supply chain so these companies aren't without components for months or years at a time, like we were during COVID or because of trade wars. I just wanted to let you guys know also, the top recipients of lobbying last year in the House and the Senate, top 10 were all Democrats. And civil servants and government workers in municipalities gave $133 million and lobbied Congress. Now they're taking taxpayer dollars for public employees. LA and Puerto Rico were the two top municipalities or government bodies that were lobbying Congress. Why are they using taxpayer money to peddle influence to the tune of this much money for Congress? Taxpayer money. It's unbelievable what is going on there. And also, the media's role in covering up Joe Biden's cognitive decline is getting more attention ahead of the new book by journalist Jake Tapper of CNN and Alex Thompson of Axios. And Free Beacon has a great article. Look it up because Joe Scarborough and Mika were the henchmen. They were Biden's henchmen, making like $25 million a year. They were invited to the White House more than anybody else during the Biden presidency. And it's like so crazy what went on. And Mika Brzezinski's brother was the ambassador to Poland. A lot of undue influence as regulars inside the White House. And Biden would sometimes invite Morning Joe to take part in off-the-record conversations with policy experts. And few people had more access than Mika or Joe. And, according to Scarborough, those of us who have spent a lot of time talking to President Biden, who know President Biden, was stunned what we saw, a claim that defies credulity. When talking about, Biden being sharp as a tack, top of his game. And also when George Clooney came out and said that he noticed a marked difference in Biden, that he was pretty much unrecognizable at his fundraiser in California. What happened at MSNBC, Mika Brzezinski, I think, said that Obama was behind George Clooney writing that letter about Biden's cognitive decline. And he shot back. And George Clooney was very, very upset about that. And this is what went on, inside the White House with MSNBC doing the bidding for Joe Biden. Now, you can make an argument that there's media elements that, protect and defend Donald Trump, Sean Hannity for one, and other, people. But the level of deceit that took place was just amazing. It was really just amazing. And then we got Jen Psaki's new show, The Briefing with Jen Psaki. Now, Rachel Maddow was on TV every day, every night on MSNBC for the first 100 days of the Trump second term of his presidency. Well, they relegated her back to Monday night, and Jen Psaki took over from Tuesday to Friday. Now, Rachel Maddow, like her or not, got about 2 million viewers. She was one of the most popular shows in left-wing TV, right? And Jen Psaki was only getting numbers of about 1.1 million. And if you look at the key demographics, which the advertisers look at, she was down to like 65,000 to 98,000 viewers for the remainder of the week after her initial show on Tuesday last week. And that's bad because, you know, personalities like Sean Hannity and others, you know, on other networks, you know, they can get up to 280 to 320,000 viewers in that key demographic, which is really important for advertisers. So I don't think that she is going to be around. And by the way, I love RFK Jr., okay? I love RFK Jr., right? He's an independent thinker. He challenges the norm, but he was swimming in Rock Creek Park in D.C. I've been down in that area a lot. It's one of the most polluted bodies of water. It goes into the Potomac. It's got sewage running through it. It's got fecal matter running through it, and he's swimming in it with his grandkids. I guess he doesn't think it's a threat, and that's fine, but I would rather snorkel in the Ganges River than I would go into Rock Creek Park and go swimming. It's really crazy. But listen, he is standing up to the man, and Bill Cassidy was coming after him, but still says that RFK is doing a good job. Now, I'm going to get into later in the show. I've got these hot primaries. I think Bill Cassidy is going to be primary. Jeff Landry, the governor of Louisiana, has been pushing other candidates to run. 60% of Louisiana in the last election went for Donald Trump. So there's a mandate to get conservative candidates. And remember, Bill Cassidy voted for impeachment for Donald Trump in 2021. I got updates for you in Louisiana, New Hampshire, Georgia, North Carolina, Michigan, and other key states. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Breaking Point on Real America's Voice News. Thank you so much for joining the Rav family. I'm having a lot of fun today, so stay with us. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Did you know that somebody could literally steal your house? Yeah, that is a thing that happens. It is when a criminal forges your signature on one document, uses one fake notary stamp, they then take out loans using your home equity, and the worst part of it is, you don't even know it's happening until you start getting collections and foreclosure notices. This right here is why you need to use Home Title Lock.
Find out if you're already a victim. Go to HomeTitleLock.com now.
Kevin paid off over $12,000 in credit card debt with the help of Consolidated Credit. They cut his interest rates and lowered his payments so he could pay off his debt fast. Call 800-596-8062 for a free consultation.
Attention homeowners. Are you behind on your mortgage payments? Is the bank threatening to take your home? Is your home worth less than you owe? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then you need to call this number right now.
Call 800-714-8615.
Stay tuned to get a free automatic toilet bowl cleaner for Mermaid. Your sink stopper's broken, but fixing a drain is such a pain. Not anymore. Introducing Mermaid Drain Magic, the instant solution to most broken drains. Simply remove and replace. In just seconds, you can fill and drain with a simple press of a button. Drain Magic makes replacing your old, broken, rusty, even missing sink stoppers fast and easy.
Practically took me 5 seconds to replace. It absolutely made my sink look like brand new.
Honestly, I couldn't believe it. How could it work so well, look so good, and install so quickly.
And forget clogging, because Drain Magic's anti-clogging basket helps catch debris before it goes down the drain. When the basket's full, just discard. Helps prevent clogs in your sink by catching hair, food, even jewelry. Drain Magic uses a silicone gasket that creates a watertight seal without messy plumber's putty. Look, this sink was filled hours ago and the water still remains. Press the spring-loaded stopper and the water's gone. Made of brass and finished in high-quality chrome, Drain Magic is rust-resistant and built to last.
It's made out of metal, not plastic, and it actually has some weight to it. Yeah, this is the real deal.
Just looks like a new sink now.
Order your 2-in-1 drain solution, Mermaid Drain Magic, today for only $19.99. And with every order, you're going to get a Mermaid automatic toilet bowl cleaner absolutely free. Just drop it in the tank for up to 3 months of hands-free cleaning. Mermaid's ultra-concentrated formula cleans and deodorizes with every flush. But wait, due to rising costs, this may be your last chance to get Mermaid Drain Magic at this incredibly low price with free Mermaid toilet bowl cleaner. There's a strict limit of 3. Call or click now to order.
Call 1-800-519-3206 or visit GetDrainMagic.com. So call 1-800-519-3206 or visit GetDrainMagic.com. Order now.
Hey guys, welcome back. I think next week I'm going to have Ben Berquam on. You know, I've been working with Ben Berquam for about 6.5 years. I was down at the border with him in El Paso and Sunland Park, New Mexico back in 2019 when Trump was closing the border up to 86%. And now he's embedded with ICE going around the country protecting American lives. And does Trump get credit for all the lives that he saved or is saving going forward? I mean, the amount of fentanyl, Pam Bondi, I think, was claiming that fentanyl was seized in the amounts of enough fentanyl to kill 258 million Americans or people around the world. Really just an exceptional situation going on. Donald Trump closing the border 96+% in just, say, 11 weeks. It's really going to save a lot of lives across the country. And I know I talk about it a lot, but I want to see, you know, where the measure and the gauge is of that. How many murders were there last year in the first quarter of the year by illegals or drunk driving accidents? And I've interviewed angel moms over the years. People lost it. And then don't forget, you know, Rachel Morin and Laken Riley and the 12-year-old raped and killed on video in Brooklyn, New York. It's just really disgusting. So kudos to Donald Trump and Tom Homan being unafraid. I want to give a shout out to one of our loyal viewers, Aaron Ellis, also known as Patriot Pitbull Preacher. He had a little conflict with X. He posted a racy post about Nikki Haley. Wasn't that bad. And he got thrown off of X and he went through the appeal process and they promised to get back to him. I think it was last year within 30 days and they have not. So by the outside chance that Elon Musk or any of his X people or Doge people are watching this show, if you're watching, I'd like you to respond to Patriot Pitbull Preacher. Give him a chance to come back on X. He's a super patriot. He's a smart guy. We've been talking, but I also wanted to get into these 2026 elections shaping up, hot U.S. Senate races shaping up, Senate and congressional races, 7 Dems in the House, 6 Republicans aren't running again next year, and 4 Democratic senators aren't running again, plus Republican Mitch McConnell. Good, right? So the Republicans have a slim majority in the House at 220 to 213, and in the Senate at 53-45, 47 if you include the independents that caucus with the Democrats. New Hampshire's Scott Brown, former Massachusetts Senator Brown, now is in New Hampshire. He ran in 2014. He only came within 2-3 points of Shaheen, who's not running again. And I think he got like 48% of the vote last time. He can win that race. But as my guest last week, Julian Ossiard, was saying, who's part of Granite State Radio up there. He's the co-host. He's saying that the primary is only 60 days before the election next year in New Hampshire. And it's really hard for the Republicans to get their act together if they have to run a primary and then have 60 days to run a candidate to beat the Democrat. So the Republicans need to unite now, right? Senator Brown, pretty much conservative. Maybe there's a better pick out there, but they got to do it, and they got to get behind somebody right now. That's an important race, and it's vulnerable, and so is the 1st Congressional District up there. In Georgia, MTG announced that she is not running for the Senate seat against Ossoff. So now you've got other front runners out there. You've got John King, who was the insurance commissioner in Georgia. You got Buddy Carter running from southeastern Georgia, I believe. But, you also have Mike Collins, who was a big MAGA surrogate. I interviewed him on the road at the South Carolina Victory Party when Trump won the primary there. I got Congressman Rich McCormick. You got Secretary of State Raffensperger. I know that won't please our audience. Maybe running. You got the Agricultural Commissioner Greg Dolezal may be running. In North Carolina, Tom Tillis, who opposed Ed Martin's nomination for U.S. Attorney. He only won with 48% last time and was censured by the North Carolina Republican Party, I believe, last year for his gun control positions and other. So who will primary him? I hope Lara Trump jumps in the race. Don Brown is another Republican who may run. But that's going to be another race to follow for maybe a primary challenge to Tom Tillis. In Michigan, there's an open seat as Senator Gary Peters is not running again. And Mike Rogers only lost to Alyssa Slotkin last year by less than 20,000 votes, or 0.3% of the vote. And who else is running? I hope former commentator and Rav, co-host of mine and ours, Tudor Dixon, who's just a wonderful person. She'd make a great governor or senator of Michigan. And the declared Democratic candidates include Abdul El-Sayed, a 2018 gubernatorial candidate, State Senator Mallory McMorrow, U.S. Rep. Haley Stevens on the Democratic side, and on the GOP side, you already have Mike Rogers declared, who was elected to the House in 2000. You have U.S. Rep. Bill Huizenga, who was elected to the House in 2010. And then maybe Tudor, Lorenzo Sewell, who's just a firebrand. If you watched him during the Trump campaign, hosted Donald Trump during the campaign, had his Life, I think it's Life 180 Church. I interviewed him at the RNC convention. He is a powerhouse. Brian Calley, former lieutenant governor of Michigan, and John Lindsay may be running. Louisiana, Bill Cassidy voted to impeach Trump in 2021. He'll likely face a Senate challenge in Louisiana. Jeff Landry, the governor, is pushing the primary to challenge Cassidy. Louisiana went 60% for Trump in 2024. And he's a little sketchy on RFK Jr. Didn't want to support the nomination, but he said he has a good working relationship to RFK, and that RFK Jr. has lived up to his promises, especially on vaccines. I want to get into Trump energy policy, which is really important. There's a number of hurdles to get through, but Trump is looking to expand nuclear energy and regulations. And to give credit to Biden, he signed the Advance Act, speeding up the process a little bit for the NRC to get permits that could take as long as 5 years. But recently it's gone to 18 months. So the commencement has taken place on TerraPower's proposed Camera, Wyoming Natrium Nuclear Reactor Project, Wyoming. Now, TerraPower was founded by Bill Gates as an alternative to fossil fuel. So there's like blanket issues between the green agenda crowd and, the fossil fuel and nuclear crowd out there because the Natrium nuclear power plant is groundbreaking and it can power up to 300,000 homes at a time. And they're smaller at about 300 megawatts, whereas a big nuclear power plant is 300 to 900 plus megawatts. Now, Trump is reopening the Palisades nuclear power plant in Michigan, but he also formed the National Energy Dominance Council. It's focused on small module nuclear reactors that could power hundreds of thousands of homes at a time. And there's testing underway for these small modular reactors that can produce nuclear energy for as small as 1 megawatt and up to 35 megawatts, one in Abilene, Texas, and one in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, respectively. It could power AI. They could build them on site in manufacturing facilities as well. and a traditional nuclear power plant, which has higher megawatts. This is a game changer. And we may have a renaissance in nuclear power, according to Energy Secretary Chris Wright. And the conditions are there, and the administration is doing everything they can to help commercial businesses and customers launch nuclear power. And last month, the Department of Energy announced $900 million towards Michigan's Palisades nuclear power plant as well. And look what he's doing on the permit process for oil and gas exploration on federal land. He's taken a 2 to 4 year process, and he says he wants to make it 14 to 28 days. Talk about power. And again, the nuclear kind of meshes with the green agenda. France gets 75% of its power from nuclear. They're the single largest net exporter of electricity in Europe, while Germany suffers because of all their wind. It's an important issue. It's a very important issue out there. And the climate change propaganda, I was talking to a 30-year-old girl in like 7-Eleven, a convenience store the other day, and Long Island is 20 miles wide by about 110 miles long, 100 miles long. And she said that Long Island shrunk by 200 miles in the last 10 years because of climate change and rising seas. Now, okay, and she lives in Long Island, and she's like 28, 30 years old. I mean, how stupid can you get? It's like years ago when they interviewed NYU grad students, and they asked them where Israel was, and they pointed to France, and somebody asked them where Texas was, and the person pointed to Alaska. This is what's going on in the United States, but there's a lot of propaganda for the climate change agenda, and they got all these electric heat pumps that are going to power buildings and skyscrapers in New York City, and they do not work well. Now, geothermal, which is not efficient right now, there's a bright future for geothermal because now with fracking techniques, they can actually get to the natural heat that is within the earth up to the surface better. But right now it costs like $100,000 to heat a home with it. It's not efficient for residential home building, but they are making a lot of progress with that. I want to thank everybody for watching, and I want to give you a message right now from Birch Gold. As countries have walked away in the past few years from the US dollar, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, diversify into gold, into Birch Gold. And for over 5,000 years, gold has withstood inflation, geopolitical turmoil, and stock market crashes. And the great news is you can still get it. In fact, you can own gold and silver in a tax-sheltered retirement account. Birch Gold makes it easy to convert your IRA or 401k into an IRA in precious metals. And all you got to do is text the word America to 989898 to claim your free info kit on gold. With 20 years experience converting IRAs and 401ks into precious metal IRAs, Birch Gold can help you protect yourself with gold today by texting the word America to 989898 with an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, thousands of happy customers, and countless 5-star reviews. Secure your future with gold. Start today with a free info kit. Again, there's no obligation. Check it out. Make the request. Just text the word America to 989898. When I come back, we're going to talk about the new mayor of Oakland a little bit, Barbara Lee. Oh my God, she wants to raise minimum wage to $50 an hour. $125,000 a year, you got to pay somebody to dunk French fries. What an idiot. We'll be right back. I've got Eric Finnman with us from Parler Social Media.
There's nothing worse than losing your dog before their time. So why do so many dog foods contain awful things a human would never eat? To save his pets, world-famous veterinarian Dr. Marty knew he had to change what was in their bowl.
That's why I created Dr. Marty Nature's Blend, my breakthrough formula that's changed everything about dog food.
Nature's Blend contains nothing but all-natural ingredients, designed to help dogs with everything from digestive issues to itching and policking, even moving around better. And that's because Nature's Blend is freeze-dried. So instead of destroying the nutrients with high heat, we gently preserve them, and you'll see the difference in your dog.
Take it from a veterinarian with over 50 years of experience saving dogs' lives. I have never seen a food make this much impact on a dog's health.
Such a huge difference in her health. More energy, more playful, no more pooping issues. He's healthier, he looks better.
Dr. Marty has thousands of 5-star reviews. And for a limited time, get up to 54% off Dr. Marty Nature's Blend, plus a free gift with our special TV offer. Call or go to drmartypets.com/TV. That's drmartypets.com/TV.
You worked hard to own your home, and it deserves complete protection because you've secured the doors, windows, and maybe even installed cameras. You've got an insurance for fire, flood, and theft. But there's one critical protection gap that leaves your entire investment vulnerable. Title fraud is a growing scam, and criminals know exactly how to exploit it. Is your home's title still in your name? Check your title now at HomeTitleLock.com.
Are you having trouble hearing your TV or listening to conversations in loud spaces? Then it might be time to consider Nano hearing aids. The days of expensive hearing aids are over. Nanos are FDA-registered OTC hearing aids. They are powerful, lightweight, and simple to use, and their tiny in-ear design makes them nearly invisible. Plus, they are rechargeable, saving you hundreds of dollars on batteries. Don't be fooled by overpriced hearing aids. Prescription hearing aids could cost $3,000 or more. Nano hearing aids are only $397. But wait, we are so confident you are going to love your Nanos, we are offering $100 off through this special TV offer. Call now and get 2 CIC rechargeable hearing aids for only $297. You get a free portable charging case, free 24/7 lifetime telephone support, free shipping, and a 45-day money-back guarantee.
Call 800-226-2107. That's 800-226-2107.
Do you suffer in pain? Are you stiff, tense, or less active? Introducing the Easy Well Remedy Massage System, a triple fusion of therapeutic experiences. Full body vibrational therapy increases blood circulation and reduces inflammation. Infrared heat penetrates deep to reduce pain, soothe, and relax. The Ultra Shiatsu pillow with 6 heated nodes mimics a professional massage. Plus, it's detachable for deep relief anywhere you need it. Experience the true remedy for your pain and stiffness. Call now.
Welcome back. You're watching Breaking Point on Real America's Voice News. So many exciting things going on out there. And I just wanted to mention, the mayor of Oakland, the new mayor of Oakland, former Congresswoman Barbara Lee, is out of her mind. She wants to make minimum wage $50 an hour. I did the math. When you put on the matching FICA tax and you do unemployment insurance, you're paying about $60 an hour, which comes out to $120,000 a year for a checkout clerk at the supermarket or a French fry dunker. These are supposed to be temporary move-up jobs. You're not supposed to make a career and feed a family of 6 on, working at Burger King. These people are crazy. And then on top of it, she fought for reparations. She's still on that as mayor of Oakland. So what are you going to make, $150,000 a year for just like, I don't know, ringing up your order wrong at the drive-thru? It's nuts. But I want to welcome to the show somebody very special. He's the national spokesman for Parler social media, Eric Finnman. How are you?
Absolutely. Great to be on. I love the intro shot of you getting at the barber shop. I think that's so great.
That was from a segment. I used to do local news here. It went out to like 3 million people. I did about 70 Long Island Talks Trump episodes in the 2016 election. And I would argue with a liberal. And they put us in barber chairs. We went fishing on a boat. We were on the putt-putt golf course. And we used to argue. And it was always 1 against 4. But I always kicked everybody's butt because nobody knows what they're talking about on the left side.
I'll have to go in the archive and find those. Those sound wonderful.
Yeah. I was looking for them. I think News 12 got rid of them. They're so liberal here. It goes out to New Jersey, New York, and Long Island. But I did a ton of episodes. But I want to talk about Parler, right? I'm active on all the social media platforms, and I was active on Parler many months ago. Parler is back. Tell us about what's going on.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we have new ownership now. Parler has, is well capitalized, has a lot of money to be able to expand and move forward. And then the way that we're expanding and moving forward is we're actually building this tech stack so that way any website, at least on the back end, can make it so if they integrate it, it's technically impossible for them to shut down. And who better than Parler to know all the nooks and crannies of how that happens, unfortunately. Like, for example, I think that if Kamala won, or, you actually don't have to take my word for it. If Elon said if Kamala won, that they would have shut down X, they would have fined him to oblivion, or arrested him like they were going after Trump. And, the goal of what we're building today, it's this tech stack called Optio, is to try to, spread the word that, hey, we at Parler, but also any other free speech social media app, whether that be X or True Social, should build a way so that way if a Democrat does get in, that their content would not disappear. And that's what we built with Optio. We think we've done it the best. And because Parler's a niche community, it's a wonderful community. We actually have a ton of people on the app, but we want to expand it so no app could ever be banned again, like what was done to Parler, and what will be tried again on Parler, on True Social, on X if a Democrat ever wins.
Yeah, so I have some questions regarding all of that. But first, you bought Bitcoin at $10. Did you make 1,000 times on your money?
Yeah, I have to do the exact multiplication on that. But yeah, no, I got into Bitcoin. Well, one of the reasons why I love things that are technically impossible to ban was I got into Bitcoin. And actually, before Bitcoin, I was into other alternative currencies. A lot of people tried to create some alternative currency that people could use that wasn't, the U.S. dollar or some fiat government run currency. But when people tried to. There was a guy who started this organization called Liberty Dollar, and he had these certificates of bills, like a $10 Liberty Dollar bill. He had a $20 Liberty Dollar bill, and at any point you could go to his warehouse or mail him these bills. If you were transacting it with some small businesses that accepted it. I have like we accept Liberty Dollar sign actually back at my home, and from back in the day. And then you could mail that in, and then he would send you the equivalent worth of silver or gold, trying to go back on the silver and gold standard. And that guy was arrested and shut down and raided and put in jail, which is terrible. Well, and anyone who tried to do an alternative currency faced this a lot of the same way that a lot of these free speech platforms have experienced this in the same way. But that was the beauty of Bitcoin, was that so many people tried and failed to create a technology that even if you put the founder in jail, even if you shut down any type of centralized office that they had, which Bitcoin never had, that it would still exist perfectly fine. And that's what we built with Optio at Parler, for Parler to use, for X to use, for True Social to use, for some social media app in Iran to use, or North Korea. We want these people that even if they commit the worst lawfare, that their website and their content still exists.
Yeah, I covered Trump. I covered the National Libertarian Convention last year. Trump promised to move away from the central bank digital currency, right? All right. So I wanted to get into really quick, Parler, what you're doing, because Trump's reelection is only a reprieve, right, in the free speech censorship movement. The risk never left. It's only been delayed. So you have a back end. You have this thing called Optio. Tell our audience in about a minute or so, what is Optio, and how are you going to protect us from the left's Project 2029 plan?
Absolutely. Yeah, I like that phrasing, Project 2029. So in the same way that Bitcoin is you can't shut that down, the same is the case with Optio. So Bitcoin, to put blockchain in as simple terms as I can, because it's complicated, it's just a public receipt that everybody can look and say, hey, you have that money, I have that money, and make sure that it's all fair. And then that network, like any website, needs servers or computers to keep the website up. What Bitcoin mining is just people dedicating a little bit of their computer space, or them buying like a warehouse of a ton of computers to kind of support the Bitcoin network, just like you would support a website. Like you have to have someone to host your website. This distributes it, so there's no one central entity to shut it down. We've done the same with Optio. So you can use our blockchain, the Parler Optio blockchain, and if you're a social media company, you can store your content on this public chain, this public receipt that everybody can look at. And then we have these things called nodes, which we have thousands and thousands of these nodes actually out in the world already, where people are supporting this network, so that way it could never die. You would have to, the human race would have to end to actually shut down this website. So that's why we think we do this better, because you're exactly right. People, it's only the risk has only been delayed.
AOC said we only got like 2 years left or 4 or 5 years left. So, but anyway, all joking aside, but your platform and Optio can protect also outlets like X and Truth Social, right? You're a defender of all free speech social
Exactly.
media.
That, if anything, that's the main goal is I don't want to be in the position that Elon said. He said we were this close to losing free speech and losing X or losing any free speech social media platform if Kamala won. Gavin Newsom has a very good chance of winning in 2028, unfortunately. Pete Buttigieg is up in the polls. All these people, there's not a single Democrat candidate that won't try to commit lawfare to shut down free speech platforms. And, I just want to make sure we get ahead of it so that way no one even notices that if a Democrat gets in, that these platforms will be shut down. I want people to take it for granted that these websites can't be shut down, because if you make it so they can't shut it down in the first place at a technological level, then they're less likely to commit lawfare. And even if they do, it won't matter to free speech as a cause and a movement, because the website would still be perfectly fine in the same way that many countries have banned Bitcoin, but Bitcoin still exists in these countries.
Okay, we have 1 minute. Can people log in now to Parler? Can they create accounts? Can they get their old accounts back? What do they do right now?
Yeah, all your accounts are all back, so you can go to Parler.com if you want to join Parler. And if you're curious about Optio, you can go to optio.community and type that in your browser.
Right. And so I wanted to make sure I wished your mother a happy Mother's Day, a NASA engineer. I had her on the show. Brilliant. Runs in the family. So tell her I said hello, please.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's very nice of you. Thank you.
Yeah. And where can people follow you, Eric, on social media?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm at Eric Finnman on social media if you're curious to learn more about what we're up to.
Yeah, we are. I want to thank you for joining us today. And I'm going to get back on Parler tonight. So thank you so much for joining us.
I love it. Thank you, sir. Have a good one.
All right, Eric, you too. Everybody, when I come back, I got Brian Reisinger representing the farmers, author of Land Rich, Cash Poor, about the new trade deal with China and what crops are going to benefit under the Trump administration, and farms. We lose about, I think we lose about 40,000 farms a year or so. So it's a big number. I forgot the number, but we'll be reminded by Brian Reisinger when we come back. And now I want to bring you a message from Switch to USA. Go to switch2usa.com to buy American products made on American soil. We always love seeing Maria from Switch to USA. How are you?
I am doing very well. I am so pumped that we are here in Long Island. Thank you.
Yeah, it's great. And I see you everywhere. I saw you in Schnecksville, Pennsylvania, Wildwood, New Jersey. Is there anywhere you don't go?
There is nowhere we don't go. Absolutely.
You've been a supporter of Real America's Voice, Breaking Point, for some time now. Tell us about Switch to USA.
Well, Switch to USA is the mom and pop American manufacturer, and we are the parallel economy for all of your essentials. And you never know when you might need another supply chain, wink, wink. So,
all made on American soil by American factory workers?
Amen to that. We have to rebuild our economy, and we are doing it.
Where can our viewers find you?
Please come to switch2usa.com.
Switch2usa.com. We love Maria. So great to see you.
Thank you so much, David. We love you too. Thank you, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you, Maria.
Thank you.
We all want to make a difference in our country and make change, but we don't all have the ability to do so. A lot of people are busy. They can't join school boards. They can't get on borough council, but they can change where they shop. And it's just shopping. It's that simple.
We're going to link arms and we're going to shop right here at this American factory. They make the products and they're all natural and they're good for us and they're affordable. Everything's made here in the USA.
The poverty is unimaginable. There are people who are struggling.
This is where she washes the dishes.
If you're ever going to allow your Christian faith to rise and to do something for God's chosen people, now is the time.
This is the home of Galena. She's 96 years old.
This is what she had to eat for today.
She has one pot with water and wheat.
My father was killed by the Nazis, And I was an orphan. I didn't know about God. But now, in the cold, hungry nights, I pray for food to the God I've never known. There are good people that love you.
You'll see the tears. Scripture says joy can come in the morning, and you can be the reason.
If you will bless these hurting children of Israel, you will receive God's blessing in return. Your urgent gift today of $25 will help rush a survival food box filled with life-saving essentials. If you call right now, your gift's impact will be doubled to help save lives. Call, scan, or go online now.
I'm not exaggerating when I tell you, I don't know how much longer she could have waited for us to come.
I can't even grow my food anymore. What will happen to me? I'm doomed to starve.
Tens of thousands of elderly Holocaust survivors in the former Soviet Union are living in extreme poverty, hungry, and forgotten. But through the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, we can bring them hope.
Eggs. It's my favorite food. May you be blessed.
You say to them, we see you and we're here to help.
If you call right now, your gift's impact will be doubled to help save lives.
There's nothing worse than losing your dog before their time.
That's why I created Dr. Marty Nature's Blend, designed to help dogs with everything from digestive issues to itching, even moving better.
Nature's Blend works because it's freeze-dried. So instead of destroying the nutrients with high heat, they all get right into your dog's body.
Take it from a veterinarian with over 50 years of experience saving dogs' lives. I have never seen a food make this much impact on a dog's health.
For a limited time, get up to 54% off Dr. Marty Nature's Blend, plus a free gift with our special TV offer. Call or go to drmartypets.com/TV.
Did you know that criminals can steal your home without you even knowing?
Nobody thinks that I can take their house. Nobody thinks that.
Criminals forge your signature on one document, transfer your title out of your name, take out loans using your equity.
3 months later, you start getting foreclosure notices, and you realize you've got 4 mortgages on your house that you didn't even know existed.
Leaving you with a financial and legal nightmare. Find out if you're already a victim at HomeTitleLock.com.
Don't blink. You might miss another Trump accomplishment. Really crazy. Never seen anything like it in my life. Probably the most aggressive agenda, like it or not, ever for a president. And a lot of positive changes coming to the United States, though. And how many lives did Trump save at the border already just from the drugs? You know, we were losing 100,000 a year. So now he's 1/4 into his presidency, borders closed 96%. How many lives did he save already just from fentanyl poisoning? Places like New Hampshire that lead the country per capita in overdoses. 8% of the population of Manchester, New Hampshire overdoses every year from toxic cocktails of drugs and synthetic opioids and fentanyl. So it's pretty extraordinary. And how many innocent lives are saved from car accidents and from murders and gang activity in the United States already with Trump closing the border? But I want to welcome a great guy. We've had him on the show before. He's the author of Land Rich, Cash Poor, My Family's Hope and the Untold History of the Disappearing American Farmer. Brian Reisinger, what's cooking?
Hey, good to be with you, Dave. I appreciate it. It is a wild time in farming and world trade. As you well know, there's a lot happening and a lot at stake for our farms.
Yeah, I don't think the mainstream media is telling the truth about the American farmer. I know it's really hard, and we were talking about, 45,000 farms a year have been lost over the last century. It's a huge number. But I was on the campaign trail following Trump for like 6 years, and he loved the farmers. And they benefited because of China as well when he was president, right? Or is that wrong?
Yeah, there's such a massive amount of President Trump support that comes out of farm country. There's a variety of reasons for that. But one of the reasons for it is that he has said from the start, we're going to get tough on China. We know that China has been screwing the American farmer, so we're going to do something about that. And so him holding them and putting their feet to the fire. And, if we can find a way to do that while opening up trade, which is what I think he's working to do, those things are crucial. And both parties have failed to do that. And nobody's really held China accountable.
Yeah, well, J.P. Morgan lowered the odds of a recession following this new Trump trade agreement with China. What does it mean to the American farmer?
Yeah. Well, here's what it can mean. The hope is that the direction this goes is a tougher line drawn with China, and also keeping that market open and opening it more in a way that's going to be fair to our farmers. So here's what's been happening with China for years now. In addition to buying up all the U.S. debt and manipulating their currency and all the ways that they cheat at global trade, they've been buying up American farm goods, making the American farmer their hostage, basically just like buying it up until they own so much of the market, and then they dump it. They drop it, and so that they can depress prices. So they've been manipulating the prices of American agricultural goods for years and years and years. If we can emerge from this time period with a tougher trade deal that holds them accountable and make sure that we wipe out unfair trade standards and keeps that market, our largest trading partner, open, that could be a massive thing. It could impact price of soybeans, price of corn. You know, the reality is that China has the ability to affect the price for all of these goods one direction or another. And so if we have a good, tough trade deal that wipes out unfair trade standards, is fair, and keeps that market open in a fair way, it could really do a lot for the prices for our farmers. And as you know, they don't have a lot of room. They need all the help they can get.
Sure. And the families are shrinking, right? Kids are going off to college and not coming back to the farm. What's the status of our soil quality? Is it being depleted?
Yeah, it absolutely is. It's a really urgent issue. As we're losing these farms at 45,000 years, you said, we're also facing some very serious problems in terms of soil health being impacted by, I think, people would say too much hard chemical being used in agriculture. There's a lot of farmers would like to be able to move away from that if they could find an economical way to do it. Also, the abundance of water. They say that whiskey's for drinking and water's for fighting over. And that's certainly true here in America, where we don't have the amount of water that we need for a wide variety of sources, but including the ability to grow our own domestic food supply, which is so crucial.
Yeah. So, okay, what crops do we export, and which ones do we export to China? And what crops and foods do we import?
Corn and soybeans and a lot of different types of wheat. Those are a lot of things that we export. We also export some beef. There's a lot of talk about the UK trade deal benefiting, hopefully determining where they go, and depending on where this lands, benefiting beef exports. So we export a lot of that kind of stuff, a lot of your row crops, a lot of your standard crops, because we can produce it so en masse, right? And the stuff that we import a wide variety of stuff, and we don't need to import as much of it as we do. Now, kiwis, bananas, we don't have, unfortunately, the American farmer isn't able to grow those things. So it makes sense to import those more exotic fruits and vegetables and things that we can't grow. But here's the issue that we have. We have a $42.5 billion agriculture trade deficit. That means that we are importing $42.5 billion more in agriculture products in food than we're exporting. So when you think about, put all that information together, we're wiping out our farms at the rate of 45,000 a year. And we're importing $42.5 billion more in food than we are exporting. So we're wiping out our domestic food supply and becoming more and more dependent on foreign countries. That's something that was going on under both parties for a very long time. And if we're able to emerge from this time period with more trade deals that are tough, that are fair for the American farmer, but that also open up more fair markets, we can reverse that. We have to find a way to slow the disappearance of our family farms and be able to sell more of that food domestically and then abroad, rather than importing it and depending on everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, we have fruit that's not exotic tropical fruit sitting in cargo ships, oranges and apples and stuff for like months, and also aquaculture. Why are we buying Chilean sea bass? Why aren't we doing it here? And then not just, tilapia, which is not a great fish, in my opinion. Is there a way, is it MAFA, Make America Farm Again? What do we got to do?
I think so. We got to put family farms first in these trade deals. And you said it, you gave so many good examples. Another really good one is asparagus. So just to the east of where I grew up in Michigan, they have Michigan asparagus. And the Michigan asparagus farmer, they face something that's just unconscionable. They sell their asparagus into foreign countries, and they're not allowed to sell into a lot of those countries during their prime asparagus season. Those countries say, hey, we're happy to buy your asparagus. We're not going to do it during our prime season. But the reverse has historically not been true. In America, we import asparagus year round from these other countries. So you got the American asparagus farmer who can't export year round, and yet they're facing imported asparagus all year. Why are we doing that? We have the ability to grow the asparagus that we need to, to raise the sea bass that we need, to raise the beef that we need, to raise the tomatoes that we need. Let's raise what we can raise, feed ourselves on it, import what we can't, and sell our excess. Right now, we almost have it like a dystopian novel. We got it backwards.
Okay, farmers. Diammonium phosphate fertilizer, like tripled under Biden. Has any of that come down?
It's a good question. We've seen inflation easing to a degree, as you know, and I think that helps to a degree. The other thing is, as we were dealing with these trade disputes with Canada, you heard a lot of farmers, you heard a lot of agriculture groups say to the Trump administration, hey, we need to make sure that like potash, potassium, things like that are available in an affordable way. And 90% of our potash comes from Canada. So the Trump administration said, okay, let's adjust this policy. Let's make sure that we can get that potash into America that we need. And what we need to be doing is we need to be finding ways to diversify where we source a lot of this stuff from, both in terms of what we're selling and what we're buying. So it's crazy to have Canada supplying 90% of something, any country supplying 90% of anything. We should be providing that for ourselves. And the same is true with exports. China is our largest trading partner. As of 2022, during the closing years of the Biden administration, we only had 20 trade deals with other countries. Well, what we need to do is diversify, get past China and others being able to hold us hostage. There's hundreds of countries out there. Let's find the ones that are going to deal with us fairly for our American farmer and our American worker.
Yeah. Okay. Really quick, I wanted to talk about, what kind of decisions do farming families have to make regarding legacy costs. Health insurance is $40,000 a year for a family policy. Here in New York, it's probably not that much less. In Iowa, how are they surviving with these increased costs?
It's a great question. Those costs are going up, insurance, all those kind of back office costs. And then on top of that is the cost of fuel, the cost of feed, seed, fertilizer, and all that. Now, here's the issue. When you talk about succession of farms, you got the younger generation, they're usually buying the farm from the older generation. And that's the opportunity for the young generation. It's the older generation's retirement plan. If you have something interrupted in the middle of that, like, one of the family members dies, unfortunately, the older generation passes away, all of a sudden that family is hit with death taxes. We need to do something about that inheritance tax because it is a crushing burden. You got so many families that want to find a way to keep that farm moving forward. And the cost of that death tax is what puts them under. They just cannot afford it. And so they end up selling. Yeah. And by the way, it's done when those families are at their most vulnerable point. It's just devastating.
Yeah, and the estate taxes too, right? So you've got to, make sure those limits, aren't too low where farmers can be exempt when they pass away and pass it on. All right, I want to thank you so much for coming on. In about a minute, tell our viewers about your book. Where can they follow you on social media?
Absolutely. Thank you, Dave. So Land Rich Cash Poor is really the story of why our farms are disappearing and what's the impact. We look at the hidden areas of history of why our farms are going by the wayside. We weave that with my family story from the Great Depression to today, stories of survival of weather and economic upheaval and tragic farm accidents, try to shed light on these issues. People can find me online at my website, which is brian-reisinger.com. That's BRIAN-Reisinger, REISINGER.com. And I'm also on X at Brian J. Reisinger. Love to have anybody out there who wants to spread the word on issues.
So, honest assessment, is Trump going in the right direction?
We've got a long haul, and I think that there's a lot of hope to be had here if we can strike these trade deals with good, tough stances that are pro-farmer. And if we put that family farmer first, I think we're going to be taking the right steps to try to right decades of wrongs.
All right. I always appreciate your insight, everybody. Brian Reisinger, author of Land Rich, Cash Poor. Go out and get it today. And we're going to have you back. All right. Let's follow what happens. Thank you again.
Appreciate it.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I hope everyone had a great Mother's Day with their moms out there. And it was a wonderful weather day in New York. Thank you again for watching. Next week, I got another great show for you. Don't go anywhere and download the Real America's Voice News app today. We'll see you next time.
Kevin paid off over $12,000 in credit card debt with the help of Consolidated Credit. They cut his interest rates and lowered his payments so he could pay off his debt fast. Call 800-596-8062 for a free consultation.
The bathroom of your dreams is only a phone call away with BCI Bath and Shower. We can make your ordinary bath and shower extraordinary. This is not a cookie-cutter design. This is a complete custom build that will fit your every need and discounts for seniors and military.
Your wallet is always in danger. Criminals can scan and hack your information without you even knowing. Worse yet, it's bulky and so disorganized. But not anymore, because Slim is in. Introducing Slim Mint, an ultra-thin RFID blocking wallet that keeps your cards and cash truly protected. And now may be your last chance to get it for a low price. Slim Mint uses the latest RFID blocking technology to prevent thieves from scanning your wallet and stealing your info.
Having your information stolen is a nightmare, but with Slim Mint, I know I'm protected.
With money clips, cash can easily fall out, but with the auto-locking Slim Mint, your cards and money stay securely in place. Then just press the button to release the lock. Slim Mint is ergonomically designed to optimize space and keep your belongings organized. It has a built-in cash clip and a flexible outer band to securely fit your additional cards and your extra cash. Even with everything you see here in the Slim Mint, it's still ultra-thin. Bulky wallets are uncomfortable, but the Slim Mint is so compact it fits in any size pocket. Plus, it keeps everything easy to access.
Slim Mint holds everything, from pictures to credit cards, my driver's license. Yeah, it's still so thin.
Say bye-bye to bent cards and damaged magnetic strips. Slim Mint keeps them protected. It's crush-resistant and can really take a beating. Similar wallets sell for over $100. But call or click